Thank you so much for coming out. We're going to get started. A lot of things, we have scheduled for today. I'd like to introduce our president, Mississippi Valley State University. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Gerald Briggs.
Dr. Sanders, thank you. Again, good morning. Oh, no, this is a celebration, right? We're going to do better than that. Good morning. All right. Thank you all for being here today, and welcome to Mississippi Valley State University. Again, my name is Dr. Gerald Briggs. I am the highly blessed and favored 8th president of this wonderful institution, folks. And we love us some Mississippi Valley State University. So if this is your first time being on campus, let me raise your hands. All right. Okay. If you've been on campus before, raise your hands. All right, that's beautiful. What I want to say is for those, if this is your first time, welcome to our beautiful campus. And this is home, so you're always welcome to come back. And for those who've been here before, welcome back. One of the important things that we believe in here at the university is that family environment. And I know a lot of times, a lot of colleges say that. But the question is not if you say it, it's if you actually do it. And I think that we do it. We provide opportunities for our students, I think that's second to none, to get a quality education and be exposed to important things like this. This being the 5th annual B King Day here at Mississippi Valley State University, folks, we are just so appreciative that you all come to our campus for this celebration. Because we truly do understand the importance of B King, not just his music, but his life and everything that he's meant to this community and beyond. So this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. I welcome y'all. Now, I know that we have several high school students here today as well. If I have high school students, if y'all could wave your hands. All right, folks, let's give them a round of applause. If we have any Valley students here, if y'all wave and raise your hands. All right, let's give them a round of applause. Because this is important for them. I think as they learn, as they continue to grow and be exposed to different things, important things that made a difference for our communities, it's opportunities like this that's so valuable to them. So allow them to learn, allow them to ask questions, allow them to grow, and allow them to really understand and experience what this day really means. This celebration, this day, will be something that I'm hoping and I know you all will remember for many years beyond. So again, welcome to our wonderful university. We're going to have a great day, and let's move forward. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Briggs. At this particular time, it's very, always in our thoughts, that we have so many wonderful inspirations that are no longer with us. And so I'm going to introduce Mr. Robert Terrell, who is with the B King Museum, and he'll tell you a little bit more about our memorial thoughts here. Thank you. Mr. Robert Terrell.
Good morning, good morning. It's a great day to be at the Valley, right? Am I right or wrong? It's a great day to be here, right? It's better to be 6 feet up than 6 feet down any day, all right? So let's rejoice today, all right? And be glad to be here. I bring you greetings from the B King Museum. BB shook my hand this morning before I left and told me to keep doing the work. I mean, that's all imaginary, but I mean, I could do that too, right? It's okay. There are so many people, and the list is too long for me to try to list them all, but for you guys who are from the Jackson area, just in case you didn't know, we lost Pat Brown this morning, with one of our sisters who sung the blues for many years. She passed on this morning, and there are so many more that passed on before Aretha, and you can just continue to name. And I won't try to name all the names because I only have a couple of minutes, but what I want you to do is just give them a moment of silence in their spirit that they continue to travel the way that they want to travel, okay? So please give a moment of silence. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's have a great day here at the Valley.
Thank you, Robert. If I could, we'd like to get Scott Beretta and Ben Payton up to the table here. I want everybody to understand too what has happened in the history of blues. We can't do it all by reading about it. You can't do it all by trying to attend all the blues concerts in the world. But what we can do in the places that we live and realize that those people existed in some point in time and how important it has been for them to leave a trail that we can follow. Because without the blues, many of us don't think about this, but without the blues, we wouldn't have any other music on this planet, especially pop music. And so you have to think about it, how important this history has been in America. And the topic today has been centered around the British invasion. And for those who don't quite get that, there were a group of young guys that came into America from the British culture, and they had already rubbed shoulders with many of the African-American musicians that were catapulted into other places in Europe. And so when that happened, the attention, of course, started to rise. And when those young British musicians started to infiltrate America, things started to change. And everybody in America started to realize that the blues was not just another music, but it was the music. And so we lived from that point on. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Scott Beretta and his right, Dr. Ben Payton. I always call them doctor because they deserve every bit of it, you know, in what they're doing. So you're talking to me, Jimmy? Okay, you with them? You got the mics on? This is Mr. Scott Beretta, everybody.
I had to drive all the way here from Greenwood today. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. This is a great event, and I'm so glad you came back for it because this is a highlight of my year. For one, I teach up in Oxford, so I get to take the day off. So I don't know if this is really taking the day off, but it's something I really do enjoy. I want to talk today about the role of Alan Lomax. He was a major folklorist. That meant he went out and recorded older traditions around the country. He did a lot of work here in Mississippi, recording blues music with a variety of colleagues, including some from Fisk University, from 1933 to 1978. And I want to talk about his role in relation to the British invasion, which as Dr. Sanders alluded to, was during the 1960s. Students were born around 2000, I think now. So, but anyways, back in the 1960s, around 1963, 64, the music world really changed, and it really changed for a lot of R&B and blues performers as well. The pop charts changed very dramatically when the Beatles came over and were on Ed Sullivan's show, and it changed the nature of the pop charts and the careers of a lot of musicians. With bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Yardbirds, Van Morrison, and them. There's a whole list of them, and all of them were very influenced by the rhythm and blues of the United States. And I want to talk about the role of Alan Lomax, who is important because of things he did indirectly, notably recording a lot of music, like the first recordings of Muddy Waters, along with John Work III from Fisk. Back in 1941 and 42, the Rolling Stones actually named their band after a Muddy Waters song, Rolling Stone, right? So we can see that link right there, that he made a lot of recordings that people listened to. And also during the 1950s, Lomax was in England and did a lot there to influence musicians. Ben Payton is with me. Aside from being a great musician and my friend, he's working with me now on a project funded by the Delta National Heritage Area involving research in places in the Delta where Lomax and his collaborators recorded people between the 30s and the 70s. And I recently created a podcast based on 1941-42 recordings that was funded by Delta State and the National Endowment for the Art. And that is called Coahoma, and it addresses the wide range of music that Lomax and his collaborators recorded in 41 and 42. That's John Work, Lewis Jones, and Samuel Adams from Fisk University. And Ben's going to be playing some songs by artists influenced by Lomax and who influenced the Brits, and talking a bit about them as well. Alan Lomax was born in Texas in 1915, and at age 18, 1933, he went on the road with his father, John A. Lomax, who was a very prominent folklorist and was documenting cowboy songs in Texas. But in the 30s, he became a pioneer in making recordings of African-American folk music. And one of the first places that Alan and John Lomax visited in 1933 was Angola Penitentiary in Louisiana, where they encountered the blues performer, and he performed a lot of other musics, Huddy Leadbelly Ledbetter. And again, he knew an awful lot of songs, and so he was very valuable for gaining an understanding of what African-American music had sounded like, not just on commercial records, but in the churches and in the fields, right? So it's kind of pre-blues, what came before the blues. So they found Leadbelly, and he came out of prison a year or so later and joined the Lomaxes for a while. The reason that the folklorists were interested in going to prisons was because that prisons often used older styles of agricultural practices, right? So they could capture things like people singing in the fields, and also that they tended not to have radio or record players, so people remembered older songs. So it was, and of course it was a controlled environment, right? If the head of the penitentiary said, "Here, record for these people, it'll work." So there was some weird power elements going on. But anyway, so in 1934, Leadbelly accompanied John Lomax, Alan wasn't on this field trip, to the Cummins Prison Farm in Arkansas. I know a lot of you blues artists are thinking about a great song about Cummins Prison Farm. But at that place, Lomax recorded a song called Rock Island Line, which was about a train, by a group led by Kelly Pace. And I think I've got a song here, the song that they recorded. This was a group of prisoners. Should say Cummins, I think, in the Rock Island.
I said the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. I said the Rock Island Line is the road to ride. I said the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you got to ride it like you find. Buy your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Well, Jesus died to save me in all of my sin. Oh, while it's glory to God, we're gonna meet him again. I said the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. I said the Rock Island Line is the road to ride. I said the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you got to ride it like you find. Buy your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line.
All right, thank you. Yeah, how do you like that? That's great, right? So that's kind of, you might hear that kind of harmonizing on both religious music and secular music, and that would be kind of a ballad of sorts. They're singing about a train, and I don't think they had a sound effects machine there, so somebody was obviously pretty good at replicating the sound of a train whistle. Well, it turns out, later research found out that song had actually been written and performed in the late 1920s in Little Rock by workers at the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Island Line. Right, and they apparently had done it as part of a promotional effort, and I guess they were performing it around town. They never recorded it, but somehow or another, the group of prisoners at Cummins Prison Farm had and heard it, and they remembered it. I don't know whether the song had been on the radio or something or other, but there's no evidence of it existing on record before 1934. As I said, now Leadbelly was at the prison and on touring around with John Lomax, and he was very valuable for somebody doing research. John Lomax was an older white man from Texas. Leadbelly was maybe a middle-aged African-American man from Louisiana and Texas, And he had been a prisoner, and he was a musician, so he could relate to people and maybe try, if you're a producer, it's nice to be able to relate to the performers in the studio. So Lead Belly was along, and he learned the song, and in 1937, he made his first recording of it for Alan Lomax in Washington, D.C. at the Library of Congress. He ultimately recorded it 10 times before his death in 1949, and the first time commercially in 1942 for the Ash label in New York, which was a label that was aimed at collectors of folk song and older forms of jazz. And those networks stretched over to Europe, right? A lot of Europeans were into older jazz, and they somehow or another probably got those records across Europe and maybe in other countries as well. By the late 30s, when Alan Lomax recorded Lead Belly, he was no longer working with John Lomax, who was a Texan of his generation, very conservative on issues of race and how he related to Lead Belly in particular. Lead Belly was working as his driver while they were going around and doing concerts, but that's a whole other issue. But the point I wanted to make is that Alan Lomax had a very different political orientation than his father and was very active in leftist politics and issues about things like racial justice in the 1930s and 40s. And in addition to working with Lead Belly, who recorded political songs like Bourgeois Blues, he worked with artists, I think Ben's going to touch on some of them later, Big Bill Brunsey, Josh White, Woody Guthrie, and Pete Seeger. So Lomax made recordings, put on shows, featured them in concerts and on radio. Lomax's politics eventually led him in 1950 to move to London. He was pursued by the federal government during the McCarthy era. This was an era in the early 50s where the government was going after people who they suspected of having leftist or communist views. And so Lomax went to London in 1950. In the United States, he had worked on the radio for CBS radio channel and worked for recorded stuff for big record labels, including Decca Records. And in the UK, he worked for the BBC. And he created radio programs that often featured American folk recordings, such as Adventures in Folk Song, and there's a really amazing one called Blues in the Mississippi Night, which consisted of musicians who were anonymous. John Lee, Sonny Boy Williamson, Memphis Slim, and Big Bill Brunsey. They were playing music, and they were talking about the realities of segregation and being African American in the South. And so when they were on the radio and when the records came out, they didn't want their names mentioned because it could have a negative effect on their careers, right? To talk about segregation or those sorts of issues openly was something very difficult to do back in the 1930s or 40s. It's still difficult today, right? But we do have other outlets. So Lomax also toured around England when Big Bill Brunsey became one of the first artists to tour in England and Europe. He created programs for TV. And in general, he brought over all this knowledge of American music, that the embassy in London had the recordings he had made of Muddy Waters that the Library of Congress had issued. And so people could come to him and find out all about a lot of American artists, right? And there weren't a lot of records released, and blues wasn't on the radio in England or in Europe like it was in the United States. But in any case, in 1951, a second commercial version of Rock Island Line, Lead Belly recorded the first one from 1942, was recorded by a British group led by a guy named George Melly. In 1955, Lonnie, can you play the Lead Belly version again, or for the first time, actually? Robert? Lead Belly, Rock Island Line. I neglected to mention that earlier.
Now, this is Rock Island Line. Like, why come people blow the train whistle talk to the depot agent? Depot agent throw that switchboard over the line, and they ain't never gonna talk to him. I got goats, I got sheep, I got cows, I got hogs, I got horses, I got old livestock. I got old livestock. Now that old Rock Island line's getting on down the road. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a road to ride. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you got to ride it like you're bound to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. Jesus died to save our sins. Glory to God, we're going to meet him again. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a mighty good road. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a road to ride. Oh, the Rock Island line, it's a mighty good road. If you want to ride, you got to ride it like you're bound to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line.
All right, and now we're going to listen to a version of it by Lonnie Donegan. He recorded this in 1955, and it turned out to be an enormous hit in England and also reached the top 10 in the United States in 1956. So this is Lonnie Donegan. English musician.
Now this here's a story about the Rock Island line. The Rock Island line, she runs down into New Orleans. And just outside of New Orleans, there's a big toll gate. And all the trains that go through the toll gate, well, they gotta pay the man some money. But of course, if you got certain things on board, you're okay, you don't have to pay the man nothing. And just now we see a train, she coming down the line. And when she come up near the toll gate, the driver, he shout down to the man, he say, I got pigs, I got horses, I got cows, I got sheep, I got all livestock, I got all livestock, I got all livestock. And the man say, well, you all right, boy, just get on through, you don't have to pay me nothing. And the train go through. And when you go through the toll gate, the train got up a little bit of steam and a little bit of speed. And when the driver think he's safely on the other side, he shout back down the line to the man. He said, I fooled you, I fooled you. I got pig iron, I got pig iron, I got old pig iron. Now I'll tell you where I'm going, boy. Down the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line is the road to ride. Yes, the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. And if you want to ride, you got to ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. I may be right.
All right. Well, you can hear the difference between the two versions. For one, he's a British musician trying to pronounce American names, and you can sort of try getting kind of at a Southern accent. But nowadays it's kind of hard to imagine, I think. But that was an enormous hit in 1956, one of the biggest hits of the 1950s in England. And it kicked off what was called a skiffle craze, that there was a type of music called skiffle. This was the most popular of those songs, but it was a movement in England of people getting together and young people getting together, and maybe there'd be a guitarist or two or somebody playing a banjo, people playing the rub boards or rhythm sticks. And it was a very participatory movement that anybody could sort of join in, right? And there would maybe be 3 chords. And a lot of the repertoire that the musicians used was from people like Leadbelly and Woody Guthrie and Josh White and Big Bill Brunzi, as well as American R&B that was kind of simplified. But in any case, this music really took off, and there was an estimation that by 1957, there were 30,000 to 50,000 skiffle groups in England. So it was both on the charts as well as a lot of kids would just play it. This happened in the United States after the Beatles came out, that all kinds of kids got together and started to try to band. A lot of teenage bands in the 60s, or maybe after Elvis it might have happened as well. But in any case, Alan Lomax had maybe sort of indirectly provided a lot of the repertoire, and then he also formed his own skiffle group that recorded, and he wasn't that popular, I don't think. But he did it with a number of other people who became very important scholars of British folk music. So the trend kind of died out in 1958 as a trend. You know, music trends pop up and then they go down. But if we look at who played skiffle before they played rock and roll in the 60s or blues rock, we can see that Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones was in a group, the Chris Barber, Ken Collier skiffle band, Graham Nash and Alan Clark of the Hollies, a very popular group, were in a group called the Two Teens. Jimmy Page, who was in Yardbirds and Led Zeppelin, worked in a skiffle band. There's actually video of him online as a 14-year-old on TV. Van Morrison, who I mentioned earlier from Northern Ireland, was in a group called the Sputniks. And perhaps most notably, John Lennon of the Beatles founded a skiffle band called the Quarrymen in 1956. Paul McCartney and George Harrison joined soon after, founded the Beatles in 1960. And the initial songs played by the group included Rock Island Line, as well as Leadbelly's songs Jump Around, Turn Around, Pick a Bale of Cotton, and Alabama Bound. And they also performed the traditional song Cumberland Gap, a mountain song which had appeared in a 1934 book by John Lomax, was recorded by Alan Lomax's protege Woody Guthrie in the 40s, and then was a second big hit for Lonnie Donegan in '57. So it's a very complicated story, but those are some of the outlines to look at, how you can have direct influence on musicians, but musicians also have big ears and pick up their influences from all over the place. Some of us are lucky to have a great bluesman as their father, right? And a lot of us otherwise pick things up from the radio. But now we're going to have another great bluesman come up. And Ben, you going to play there? Are you going to play here? Or where do you feel most comfortable? Okay. About 10 minutes, we'll have this going. Thank you all very much. How's that?
Let's see. Can y'all hear me now? All right.
It was just the way,
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. Wait, what is that on there, man? Take that off there. That's some type of treble. Treble. Some. Can y'all hear me out there?
How's
Good.
the volume?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to be here again, and we. Okay, I was trying to wait things out. All right. Okay. Thank you, Paul. We are dealing with a subject that is very important. Even if you had asked Alan Lomax, what was he doing? Why was he doing these things? He couldn't give you an answer. But it turned out to be very, very, very important. It was important to the early bluesmen. It was important to the Negro race. I'm going to do some songs by three artists. One was Josh White. One is Big Bill Bruzy. And the other is Leadbelly. Now, all of these men had a task and had skills that they had developed to accomplish that task. I'm going to do a song that each one had a yearning for better life for their peoples. And Lomax was there to try to help ensure that that come to pass. Lomax was a great historian, journalist, and he knew how to get a story told. He had a yearning also to help these peoples accomplish a better life. Not only just Negro peoples, African Americans, but all peoples. He sought to find out their culture and share it amongst all of the other peoples of the world. And he traveled and did many things to accomplish this. Let me just say to all of the college students, you might have that same problem. You might have a struggle of trying to find out what you're trying to do. What is life giving you to accomplish? Sometimes you start off on a road that might not seem that it's going any place, but you have to keep searching around to look and see, is that what you want to commit to or not? Now, Josh White started off carrying the guitar and leading blind musicians around. Even as these musicians began to do better or do good, Josh White had to sleep in the cotton fields, out in the vacant houses and stuff. And one musician did him kind of rough. He wouldn't buy him no shoes so he wouldn't run away. But he kept at it until finally he found himself in New York, and he had learned to play guitar from each one, even Blind Blake, which Blind Blake was one of the great guitarists from the early 20s and on up. Also, some of the other blind fellows, even Gary Davis, I believe he learned from. And so he became a very gifted and talented guitar player. In fact, this particular song that I'm going to play for you now, when I heard it, I didn't think it was Josh White. It sounded more like one of the old blues players that I was familiar with. But anyway, he had a particular kind of feel when he played, you know. And I'm hoping this early in the morning I'll be able to do just a little of it. Got that all? Well, people, let me tell you. Whoa, let me tell you now. People, let me tell you what these depression blues have done to me. Oh, it took away robbed me of my brown-skinned woman. Now I'm worried as I can be. When I had money, my women and friends stood all around. Well, when I had good money, women and friends hung all around. Now that my money's gone, my women and friends can't be found. Paul. Where's Paul at? Paul. Can you take that treble off? I asked him to do that. Another song thing that Josh also was a gospel blues folk singer. And this is one of his gospel songs that he done. That's that chords, I believe it is, Robert. Turn that chords off. Well, I went down south about a year ago. Thing was so hard, made my poor heart so. Folks had nothing, it's a shame. Everybody saying it's that hard time blues, hard time blues everywhere. Great God Almighty, great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. Great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. Great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. It's all right, Rob. Great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. Great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. Well, hot sun shining, 2 weeks no rain, crops are planted in vain. Hard time blues all around, mill barrels empty and folks' hope selling down. Great God Almighty, I'm feeling bad. Great God Almighty, I'm a... Thank you. I'm kind of in an awkward position trying to see and play at the same time, and plus the little problem with the guitar, but nevertheless, we're going to go on. Now, this particular song was about his travel down south, and he began to see the hurt of the peoples. And so he decided to do a song about it. And so in that sense, not knowing really that it would help, but then Allen Lomax began to hear these songs and began to seek what could he do to be assistant to them in their troubles. Now, this next song is from Big Bill Bluesy, and he also was a great influence of what was going on in his day. Now, this song is called White, Black, and Brown. Now, you got to remember now, this is some of the things that he was going through and that he wanted to share. And it goes something like this. This little song I'm singing about, people, let me tell you it's true. If you black and got to work for a living, let me tell you what will happen to you. If you white, it'll be all right. If you brown, you stick around. But if you black, get back, get back, get back, get back. Went down to the employment office, got in the line. You know, they called everybody's number, but they never did call mine. Like if you white, you be all right. If you brown, you stick around. But if you black, get back, get back, get back, get back. Now me and a fella was working side by side in the Curry mine. They was paying him $1 an hour. They was paying me 50 cents. If you white, you be all right. But if you brown, you stick around. If you black, get back, get back, get back, get back. See, if you white, you be all right. If you brown, you stick around. But if you black, get back, get back, get back, get back. So now this was one song that he couldn't get recorded in America. But when he went overseas, he got a fellow to record it over there. And now I'm going to move on to Lead Belly. Give me a second, I got to retune here. I'm tuning from A natural to open G. I hate to do that. Usually I carry 2 guitars, but as I get older, that becomes kind of difficult, Ray. You know, when you got to carry 2 guitars plus your luggage, you know, that get kind of difficult. So you have to learn to do what you have to do. Now, let me just say, as these fellows played, and they all wound up in New York with Big Bill Bloomsy, not Bloomsy, but Lead Belly Josh White and Sonny Terry and all these fellows, Scappy, all of these musicians wound up in New York and became like a unit working together for a cause. And even at one time, all of them began to be watched by the FBI for thinking they were socialists. And they was trying to arrest them and get them out of circulation. This is Lead Belly. As you heard, Lead Belly has a heavy tongue, so. But this is a song called Bourgeois Blues. Now, when Lead Belly was in New York with Alan and his dad, he received good treatments. You know, people was really fond of him and was helping him all the way. But when he went to Washington, D.C., it was a whole different story. So much so Alan wrote a song about it, and it's called Bourgeois Blues. Good. Listen here, people, don't you listen to me. Don't find no home in Washington, D.C., cause it's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. Yeah, I'm gonna spread the news all around. Now me and my sweet wife Martha, we went all over town trying to find something to eat. Boy, they kept turning us down. It's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. I'm gonna spread the news all around. Now me and my sweet wife Martha, we were standing upstairs. Heard a white man say we don't want no niggas up there, man. It's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. Hey, it's a bourgeois town. Go spread the news all around. Now me and my sweet wife Martha went downtown. Man, we looking for food, couldn't find nothing all around, man. It's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. It's a bourgeois town. Spread the news all around. I can end it right there and just say a few words. Okay. Mm. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, that's my dear friend, Ben Payton. Ben has been around the world doing this music, and I became really familiar with Ben more when he spent time there in the African culture. And my dear friend, Randy Weston, of course, who's no longer with us. But this music has been around, and it ain't going nowhere, y'all. It'll be here a long time. And I always think about if somebody from another planet came down and we were all gone, and they found this music. They know what we're about, you know. So it'd be very simple, you know, when you start listening to music. And not just the blues, I mean every offspring of the blues. You know, it's a story behind all of it. I'm so glad to have, you know, Tony and his compadres in the house. Yeah, so how you guys doing, man? Everything is cool? I want that hat before you leave. He said, he's like, I can't have that. Now, if I was in Chicago and met you on the street, I'd take that hat. I might go to jail for it, but I have a hat, you know. That's what most people got the money and buried it and didn't live long enough to go dig it back up, you know. So, no, that hat looked good on you, man. I'd probably mess it up if I put it on. I want to, oh yeah, come on up, Ray. I'm going to put together some musicians. I'm going to tell you about Jimmy Duck Holmes a little bit. Duck couldn't make it, and you know, folk get old, they stop thinking. At least they stop thinking about you. They start thinking about themselves. And I don't know, Duck said he wouldn't be able to make it this morning, but if you read inside your program, you'll see information about Jimmy Duck Holmes. Does everybody in here know what a juke joint is? All right. Now, yeah, juking, you know, it's gone from everything. You know, I was listening to Sam Joyner's recording this morning. He gave me one of his new recordings, and he's talking about it got to be jelly because it don't, you know, because jam don't shake like that, you know. So y'all have to think about juking. See them girls back there smiling. But while Ray and these guys are getting set, did Walter leave us? Do we have a bass player in the house? You gonna play bass? Come on up and play. Oh, he can play it on. Come on up and play. Yeah. Tony, you wanna come on up and help us, man? Now this is what we used to do years ago, when people wasn't expecting a band. Sometimes a band just show up and start playing, and that's what we're about to do now. We're just gonna take this opportunity to do a little music for you. Got some beautiful people on the stage. Duck Holmes was, and still is, running what we call the Blue Front Cafe. If you've never been down to Bentonia, anybody been to Bentonia? Yeah. So that's always a place that we can depend on even today to be one of the oldest kind of blues venues that we can always depend on being open, you know, throughout the state. Hey, you guys out talking me back there. Paul? So be quiet. So if you think about it, we've got right up the road in Indianola a place that B King bought called Club Ebony. And Ebony has changed hands from, you know, Johnny Jones down to, where's Mary Shepard? Oh, Mary's sitting right in front of me. Thank you, Mary, for not being a snake, because you'd have bit me. So, but anyway, can you raise your hand up? If you can stand up, I'd like for people to know who's it. She's titled by the governor Queen of Juke. Yeah. And one of the dearest friends B King could have ever had. And of course, she sold her place to B King, and B King gave it to the museum. So if you get a chance, you go to Indiana. We'll be there tonight making a lot of music, by the way. So if you 8 years or older, you can come in. If you're under 8, don't come out tonight. So, but we'll be doing some blues things. Oh, don't worry about it. Well, anyway, go down to Bentonia, and there's a place called the Blue Front Cafe, and that's where you'll find Duck Holmes on any given night, you know, dealing with the blues. Ray, how you feel, baby? I thought Walter was in the house. What happened to Walter left us? Where did Paul go? I saw Paul a minute ago. No, I'm talking about the other Paul. Where's McKinney? Did Paul, he left out? All the horn players gone. Where's Arthur? We got to get a horn player up here. Unless y'all want me to pull my horn out now. I keep my stuff out. Come on. No, I'm going to let my different. Come on, Arthur, play a little horn with us, man. I don't know what Ray and the boys got for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Coleman on drums. This is This is the man that carried B.B. King's band, you know, for the latter decade. You know, Tony is one of the great ones. So, Tony, you ready? Can I get paid first? No, Tony. You know what, Tony? You made me think about a story that when Tony was with BB. Now, Tony, you tell me if I'm lying. BB tried to get Tony straight because Tony was talking about one of them juke houses that BB was playing in. And Tony was, you want to tell it? You'll tell it wrong. I know I got it right. Oh, you're making sure. Come on up. Let me let you tell it.
Hey, y'all see me paying him, right? I'm paying him.
That'll work.
First of all, I'd like to say this is an honor to be here today, y'all. How about it for the university for celebrating B King Day? We got a lot to talk about. I talk a lot, so I'm gonna shut the hell up. I ain't gonna talk a lot. But I just want to say that my friend, Mr. Jamie Johnson from Nashville, and Mr. Randy Hauser are here. They came to join me. I asked them to come. Jamie got on his airplane. They landed here to be here with us today. Jamie, I love you, brother. Randy Hauser, they're major country guys. Tell you a quick story about what he was talking about. What the hell was you talking about? First of all, I grew up, when I was with B King, I've been playing drums ever since I was a little baby. All I wanted to do was play drums. That's all I ever wanted to do was be a drummer. I want to be in a band. I want to be with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I want to be with the Barcades. I want to be with Chic. I want to be with somebody funky, and I got with B King. So my attitude was like, hey, man, I don't like the damn blues. I can't stand the blues. I've been hearing that ever since I was a little boy. I don't want to hear no damn blues. So I'm in B King's band. We come here to Mississippi. Every July, BB would play free for 2 weeks around Mississippi out here in the Delta for people who couldn't afford to see him. He wouldn't get paid, but he paid a band. So we were playing at a place, the building leaning to the side. Got cobwebs all over the place, looked like a rat just ran across. I was making fun of the place. I had the band cracking up. Man, this place raggedy as hell. Look at it. Look like I saw a damn bug or something on it. What the hell? Yeah, I had people laughing in the band. Boy, that's funny. Walter King, he remembers that. So we got ready to go play, and as I was getting ready to get off the bus, BB stopped me. He said, Tony Cole, man, have a seat, son. I hear you making fun of this place. You think it's funny? You talk about how raggedy the building look and look like a bug down there on your leg, huh? I said, yeah, that's funny, boss. That was funny as hell. He said, well, son, you've been everywhere with me, son, around the world. Yes, sir. Carnegie Hall, everywhere. That's right. We play for everybody, son, and when you make fun of the people here in Mississippi like that, you hurt my feelings, son, because these are my people. This is where I'm from. And you're making fun of it. Now, if you don't want to work, it's all right. I'll find somebody. But this is your music too, son. This is your music. You shouldn't make fun of your own history and your own culture like that, son. It really hurts me. Now, go and play if you want it. If you don't want it, it's all right. Now I was like, damn. Man, I felt so bad. Telling the story, I get chills thinking about it. That was the moment for me that I realized how important the blues was. So when we go around the world, I've been in over 90 countries around the world with B King. B King made sure he let everybody know, I'm from Mississippi. He loved Mississippi. Even when Mississippi didn't love him, he loved Mississippi. And because of working with B King, I've met everybody in the industry that you can imagine. Presidents, rock stars, funk, roll, George Clinton, reggae. I ain't met Beyonce yet, but I'm working on it. But no, because of B King, I got a chance to meet Jamie Johnson. I've been friends with Mr. Willie Nelson forever. So I was on the bus with Willie. I was a little lightheaded, but it was cool.
Jamie came on the bus. He said, "You know Jamie?" I said, "No, that's Jamie Johnson, friend. Hey, Jamie, how you doing?" So on the way out the bus, I said, "Hey, Jamie, if you ever need a drummer, give me a call." I was just kind of messing around. Oh, yeah, y'all say rap, so bullshit ain't nothing. So anyway, so I said to Jamie, "Hey, man, you ever need a drummer, give me a call." Jamie said, "Well, give me your number." Oh, okay. I gave Jamie my number. 3 days later, I get a call. "Hey, Mr. Cole, man, this is Jamie Johnson. I need a drummer." I called Jamie. "Hey, Jamie, how you doing?" "Well, you said call you if I need a drummer. I need one." I said, "Oh, cool, okay. Well, Jamie, I don't know you. I don't know your music." "Well, you know Willie Nelson and you play with B King. You'll be all right." I said, "Okay, so when are we leaving?" "Well, we leaving tomorrow night." I ain't never heard a Jamie Johnson song. I don't even know him. He said, "You'll be all right." I got on stage, did the show. Everybody was happy except me because as a musician, you know, we want to be the best we can be. And I was like, damn, I suck. I said, "Jamie, I apologize." He said, "What you apologizing for?" I said, "Man, I screwed your music up." He said, "Hell, well, did you listen to my songs?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, don't listen no more. Just play." Let's hear it from Jamie Randy. We're going to get him up to talk a little bit. But now, anyway, that's the story. That's it. And this is actually BB's guitar, ladies and gentlemen. And that one right there is too.
Band.
Ben, Joe, teach me some keys. I don't know how to play it.
Okay. Everybody, a lot of you guys don't know me, but I'm the Kieran Harold, all the way from Louisiana. And I believe when B did this song, he knew what he was doing. He said this: "Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away. Oh, the thrill is gone, baby. Thrill is gone away. You know you done me wrong, baby, and you're gonna be sorry someday. Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away from me. Thrill is gone, baby. Come on, y'all, this is a celebration. Thrill is gone away from me. Come on, get into it. Although I still live on, but so lonely I'll be. Hey! Thrill is gone. Woo-hoo-hoo. Thrill is gone away for good. Yes, thrill is gone, baby. Thrill is gone away for good. I know I'll be open arms one day, baby, like I know a good man should. Guess what he said? He said, "I'm free now, babe. I'm free from your spell. I'm free from from your spell. But now that it's all over, all I can do is wish you well. Go ahead, Ray, go ahead. Y'all. Drill is gone away. That's what BB say. But Lil Ray said the drill ain't gone nowhere, y'all. Is gone away. Oh, the drill is gone, baby. Drill is gone for good. Gonna be sorry, baby. Sorry someday.
Well, we got to get some more blues like that happening. Thank you. Let's another hand for my compadres. Dr. Larry Goldman, how you doing? That's my dear friend. Yeah, that's what we're about to do. If I can, Randy and Jamie, y'all come on up. This next panel of discussion is something that we, I guess, I need for you to think about what they're about to talk about so you can maybe ask or formulate some questions from it. But it's always been a mystery to me of how many layers of history that we can kind of unfold or peel back to look at how American music, especially American popular music, exists today and how much money has been made off of, the industry part of it. And a lot of times the musicians didn't make the money. People behind the scenes, people who were doing, things outside of being on the stage. So those things I've always thought about, but we're going to talk a little bit about, the European culture and how those young musicians came to America to start conversations. B King touched a lot of those guys in Europe, and they thought that BB was dubbing them the next generation of musicians. Some of them really believed that. And many times we were in America toying around with the music, and and garage bands started to develop throughout the cultures, and before we knew it, the blues was going around the world. And I'll never forget BB talking about the first time, like when he met, people like Eric Clapton or members from the Rolling Stones band, and some of those stories. And BB said that he never tried to put it down because he knew what he was doing was the music of his own life. He knew that without a doubt. But when those guys started to come in, they were making an average of $60,000 to $100,000 a year, and BB was opening for many of them. Same thing happened to John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and the rest of them. But they were open, and BB said he was making an average about $5,000 or $6,000 a show, with the festivals. So that's a large gap between the cost of living and what was really going on. But then when you think about it, without the British invasion, we might have put the blues on a shelf and never opened a can again. So we have to think about some of the realities behind it. Y'all, the microphones on, guys? Yeah. Yeah, the mic's on? Yeah, y'all might have to pick them up.
You got to get it over to you.
Yeah, and y'all are going to have to read through the program to find out a little bit more in detail about these gentlemen. But you're sitting in front of three of the greatest guys in the music business, and if I had to be one of them, I'd hate to have to choose. So, but ladies and gentlemen, without further ado.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Mr. Randy Hauser, Jamie Johnson, and Mr. Willie Cobbs.
All right. Thanks.
Can you get I think we got a little, will you hear the feedback? Where's Tony? I'm right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony Coleman.
Hey. There's so many people in here to thank, but most importantly, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
I joined B King's band in 1978. And from him, he fired me 5 times. Walter said 10. Oh, you stayed fired, but you still had to work. But he didn't fire me because I was drunk or chasing girls and doing stupid stuff. He fired me because I used to argue with him all the time about him trying to teach me things to be like him. Like I said, I was a young man living in Chicago, Illinois, wanted to be a funketeer and stuff. I didn't want to play no doggone blues. I couldn't stand the damn blues. I've been hearing the blues all my life, but BB'd be like, play it like that, son. Don't play it that funky way there. I said, yeah, but that's cool, man. Well, why don't you go home and play it and let me know how that works out for you. I stayed broke trying to be funky. Then I come back. He liked it. He liked somebody. He liked me in the band because I was young and full of energy, and I was kind of a dumbass, always arguing with him. He didn't like that, but he liked me to challenge him about stuff, but then I carried it too far, and but he'd be like, I think it's one of those times you need to go home and think about it. But what I learned about B King was he was more than the blues. He was blues, of course, but he was a humanitarian. He loved people, and no matter where he went around the world, he treated everybody the same. And he loved all kinds of music, and he was on top of everything. You couldn't pull up anything that BB didn't know about because he had a laptop. People don't know this, but BB was like a techie or something. He had every modern-day computer in his lap. You know why the fly got 1,000 eyes, son? He did. So I want to share this with you because this is important, another important lesson about B King. Everybody talk about how nice he was, how cool he was, always a gentleman. BB wanted to kick my ass one time. He got up in my chest. No, he was nice. He was all of that. But one time he told me a story. He said, son, I got 2 assholes in my band. I said, yeah? He said, you know who they are? I said, I'm one of them. He said, that's right, you're one of them. That's what he said, Jamie. I said, who's the other one? Don't worry about that. I'm talking about you. He said, but he's too old. I can't do nothing with him. He's too old. He ain't going to change. He like an old stubborn mule. He ain't going to change. But you, I can change you. So one day on stage, he was getting on my ass about something he wanted me to do to play up tempo or something. I didn't want to do it. And he said, damn, son, BB, very seldom did you hear him cuss. He's like, damn, son, can't you follow me sometime? I said, man, you play the tempo so fast. We never play Let the Good Times Roll like this. It's normally Let the Good Times Roll. But then he had like some spiked Geritol or something. Let the good time roll. Let the good time roll. I was like, man, that was too fast. Well, son, I didn't tell you to be a drummer. I said, well, I can't play it that fast. You remember that Walter King over in Germany? So he said, didn't I just tell you about being an asshole, son? And the other person he was talking about was in the band in the dressing room. I said, well, you told me I wasn't the only asshole, and BB ran over like Star Trek on me. Say it, now that's enough. All right, son, that's enough. I was like, what you say another word, son. I don't do it. I was like, damn, BB the gone gangster on me, man. Now, if you say another word, and we were in Warsaw, Poland, he said, I'll get you on the plane tonight. And that's what he called Herman Jackson. He said, get Herman Jackson. That's the other drummer, Herman Jackson, to play with BB. Give him a round of applause. Every time I get fired, Herman come in and be the relief. But back to what I was saying about the blues. If it wasn't for Mr. B.B. King, I wouldn't have met all the artists I've met and become friends with, like Willie Nelson and Randy Houser's from Meridian, Mississippi. And these guys are successful in their line of music, country music, but everything we play got the blues in it. I was talking to Willie Nelson about the blues, and he said, well, it's 2 songs in America. I said, yeah? He said, the Star Spangled Banner and the blues. I said, yeah, okay. So basically, anytime you hear anything, it's got the blues in it. Now, we're talking about the British invasion. When I was growing up, I wanted to be like Jimi Hendrix, play rock, you know, and wear dashikis and, you know, smoke a little pot and all that when it wasn't cool, you know. All of that, chasing girls, getting high. I wanted to be like the British guys, Led Zeppelin. I was like, hey, hey, Mom, I want to make you move, I want to make you think, I want to make you groove. Like, yeah. But I could hear something in that music. I was thinking, you know, Benjamin Wright is one of the greatest arrangers and orchestrator in the world. But, you know, I was thinking, Ben, man, there's something about Led Zeppelin. I don't know what it is. I like it. Then I was listening to Black Sabbath, you know. I am Iron Man. And everybody in my community said, boy, that boy is crazy right there. I don't know what the hell he played. But everything got the blues in it. All the music has blues in it. And like Albert King said, if you don't like the blues, you got a hole in your soul. The blues is in everything, even rappers. So, you know, this is really important that we have these days to remember B.B. King and Bobby Blue Bland, who was my other father, Bobby Blue Bland, Miss Bland right there. That's my mama Bland right there. So the British thing, now I'm going to ask Mr. Cobb, let me ask you a question. When did you go to school to learn the blues?
In the field. I was like, yeah, in the cotton field.
In the cotton field.
That's why I got learned the blues. That's why they call it field music. Back then, blues, I mean, you hear people cross the way, oh, Lordy, Lord. You know, it got started like that, called it field music. So that's why I got off into it, and I've been off into it ever since, man.
Mr. Cobb, you sure you didn't get a DVD for dummies on how to do the blues? Come on now, you know you did. That's the roots of the blues right there, ladies and gentlemen. In the fields. And I tell people, I used to wonder why my grandmother who raised me, she raised 4 of us. My grandmother used to hum all the time. Every time she'd be doing stuff, she'd be, I used to be, damn, why she hum so much? Then I remember she had to hum to keep from killing my ass, because she was like, you know, this boy here, if I could kill this, in the field, it's the feeling, man. So, Jamie, you and Randy play country music around the world. Were you inspired by rock and roll? Is it British rock and roll?
I got the blues for dummies. See,
I borrowed it after he was done with it. Now.
me, I guess I was definitely influenced by, a lot of country music. But my dad, I was born in Jackson, and I lived there till I was about 12 years old in South Jackson. And my dad, he was a B3 player, organ player, and he would get to play on a lot of demos and stuff at Malaco down there. So I just sort of, I just grew up with a lot of blues music, listening as a kid on Sunday afternoons. You couldn't turn the radio on. You could go riding around and listen to blues music, and that's what my daddy would take us doing. We go visiting on Sunday, and just jump around. And so, growing up here, it's just like you can't help but it finds you,
Yeah.
And it found its way into our music, and in its own way. It just, it's we definitely have our own flavor of country music, because of the blues.
Jamie, after you threw that DVD for Dummies on Blues away, and you get on stage, do you think about what you're gonna sing and play, man?
Only when I get there. I'd say the blues probably came to me through Hank Williams. Country music, I think, before Hank, that kind of lacked that element. There was not a lot of relatable songs that were relatable widely to a country music audience before Hank Williams. And Hank brought this element of sadness, something that was relatable to poor people. And we grew up with nothing. I had a guitar, and that was my education, but it was also my entertainment. And I learned Hank Williams songs. I learned some B King songs. I learned how to play. And I learned how to play things that fed my soul. Like soul food feeds you, your belly. That soul music feeds your soul. It's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I know about soul food. I've been feeding my belly a long time. I've been feeding my damn belly too much. I need to back off. But the funny thing about it is when I went out on the road with Jamie, and it's something about his music and Randy and Mr. Cobb. The whole thing that it's about is a feeling and about something that's relevant to you, that you express it in a way with emotion and feeling. That's soulful. That's blues. It doesn't matter if it's country, reggae, rap. It's because there's an element of pain in there. But to release that pain, you use the blues. The blues is like getting bit by a poisonous snake. If you got bit by a rattlesnake, they have to get snake venom to cure you. If you went to Africa and a black mambo bit you in the ass, you need black mambo venom to cure you from dying. When you got the blues, you need the blues to take you out of the blues. It's the antidote to the blues. That's what I think. Because this cured me a lot. If it wasn't for people like Mr. B King and Bobby Blue Bland and Hank Williams and Willie Nelson, those songs, that music, that blues that we got in common, it brings the whole world together. I've been to over 90 countries around the world. It's true, it can bring everybody together. And when I was with Jamie, out there touring with Jamie, I was the blackest thing in the whole audience. So some of my friends say, Tony, I see you working with that redneck dude. I said, hell, I'm more redneck than him. He got more blues than me. Shoot. I wasn't on stage trying to wear cowboy hats and boots and chaps. I was just being Tony Coleman with my friends. Those people a couple of people would say stuff to me like, they see my laminate, my Jamie Johnson laminate, Randy, they say, are you Jamie's bus driver? I say, nah. You Jamie's security? Nope. I'm Jamie's insecurity patrol. What do you do for Jamie? You drive that truck? Nope. I'm Jamie's personal chef. God damn, he got a personal chef. Boy, you look like you can cook good, too. Then I get on the damn stage, and I'm playing percussion with Jamie Johnson, and everybody in the audience is like, damn, that boy's bad. Oh, good. I made some of the best friends in the world out there playing country music because we got something in common. We got the blues, we got the music, we got the soul. It releases us. Our job as musicians is to make the world feel better. That's our gift. God gave us a gift. Everybody in here, you heard the president the other day say, I am the chosen one. No, we are the chosen ones. We're the chosen ones. Mr. Benjamin Wright, people like that, Mr. Cobbs, these were the chosen ones to bring the world together, to bring you all together, to keep the blues alive, but do it the way it's relevant to your times. We're not going backwards. So, you the moderator or me right now? No, I'm just being a smart ass. Son, stop talking and let the man answer the question. Okay, BB. Mr. Cobb, could you please explain to us how it feels to see today's world compared to the way it was for you? How does it make you feel today to see all of these people, the younger people today, growing up compared to how it was for you growing up through your music?
Oh, man. I can't explain it. I mean, you know, back when I started my music, you know, it wasn't that many people around you. You know, you cross the street. I grew up on a farm, and it was just so much has changed in music. You know what I mean? And it just, I don't know. I can't explain it. Really, I just can't.
It's a feeling, though. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, it's a feeling now and then that you just can't explain it.
Yep. So all you intelligent university folks, remember, don't forget your feeling. Learn everything you can learn, but keep your feeling. Because it's all about feeling. That's like communicating with your feeling, with your soul. That's how we can come together and relate to one another, you know? And that's like when he came up out in these fields out here. When I come to Mississippi, I grew up in Kissimmee, Florida. And, you know, the only cotton I picked came out of a Bear aspirin bottle. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about no damn cotton picking. But I tell you, when I come to Mississippi and I look at those fields and I think about my culture and my people and other people who were poor, just like, see, race ain't have nothing to do with being poor. Poor is poor. I don't give a damn. And when you poor, you have to figure out how to get through it. You can't get a toy and go and get a Mattel toy. You got to get a little brick or something and run, let me hit you with the brick. Bam! What kind of game is this? Damn. But at least you can recover from the brick. But the blues is so important to everything we do in our culture, and we must keep the blues alive. And I'm just saying that I'm happy to have Mr. Cobb here, who created this music and pass it on. I hope I can represent you well and BB and Bobby Bland well, Mr. Cobb. Please, y'all, a standing ovation for Mr. Cobb.
Thank you.
So I've said what I had to say. This is my first time coming to the BB King Day, and I just want to once again thank you, Jamie, for coming. Thank you, bro. And Randy Hauser, thank you so much. Where y'all going? Ain't nobody say y'all can go no. Get y'all ass back there. Sit back now. Oh, who did what? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Cobb, could you tell us about the song, You Don't Love Me, about the song?
You Don't Love Me? Oh, I cut that song in 1960. And it was kind of hard for me to get it out. Well, first of all, I took it to a recording company in Memphis, and they turned it down. and they told me they liked the song. They could get Howlin' Wolf to sing it, but I couldn't sing. And so I was in the record shop, and I was gonna go on my way out, because I was gonna take the tape and throw it away.
Yes, sir.
Because I was so disgusted. I was living in Hughes, Arkansas at the time, and it was two white boys standing there, Billy Riley and Stan Kelton.
Yes, sir.
And he said, boy, you wrote that song? I said, yeah. He said, you want to record it? I said, what do you think I'm over here for? he said, I got a studio here in Memphis on 19 North Bonanza.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you be there in the morning and we go cut it. Me and Eddie Boy was playing together at the time, and if Eddie Boy on piano, we all were in there. Sammy Lawhorn on guitar. And we went there with just four of us. And
yes,
we
sir.
cut that record. And it just right now, Beyonce got it out now. It's been going ever since 1960, up the ladder.
Yes,
the
sir.
Allman Brothers, the Sun and the Cher, and all of it. It's just been awesome.
Awesome, great.
Believe it.
Did you have any click tracks on that session? Crickets. Jamie, give him a round of applause for that, Mr. Cobb. Thank you. Jamie, could you tell me something? When you sing, are you like thinking about how you? Cause I've been on stage with you, man, and when you belt a song out like you do, are you thinking about I'm gonna do it, or how it work for you, man?
I try not to do much thinking on stage. That's how you get all messed up. I kind of, you can feel a room. Right now, there's a bunch of bored people in this room.
They bored. Are y'all bored? Why are you bored? You want to hear some music?
That's what I mean.
Okay,
feel it.
We can talk. We're at a university. We're supposed to be having a dialogue, but the music speaks louder than words, right? But your ass gonna have to sit there for a little longer right now. I ain't playing no damn music. Yeah, I got something to teach y'all ass. Be quiet and pay attention. Talking about y'all bored. Y'all ain't got nothing else to do. No, but seriously, folks, we're gonna get to the music, but we're just trying to make dialogue and communicate how the music, educate and communicate about this music we do called blues music. It's important because when we're dead and gone, you guys got to carry it on. Because if you don't, it'll die. So we need you all to please pay attention to what's happening here and keep the blues alive, because y'all are our future. We need you. We need y'all. We need you. Because when I get too damn old, I can't fight then. I'm too old. You kick my ass, push my wheelchair off the sidewalk or something. I don't know. But the thing that I really want to put emphasis on is like Randy Houser. These guys are successful country artists. They make a lot of money. They do that, but they don't do it for the money. They do it because they love it. We all do it because we love it. But it is a business. This is business. So, we got to get paid. I got my dollar for the day. But I know when we're on stage riding around in $1 million tour buses and flying in airplanes, like Jamie flew the plane here to be with us today, and Randy Houser, we do it because of the love. Jamie Johnson ain't getting paid to be here. He flew his plane here on his own. Randy Houser got other things. He could be on the golf course right now, but because of the love of the blues and the respect of you all, so please, give him a round of applause, please. Thank you for that. Now, Jamie, go ahead and tell me, because when you
I was just saying, how you can feel a room.
Right.
But when we get in them bars at night, you can feel that room too. And so I don't want to be stuck up there singing a bunch of campfire sing-along crap when everybody in there is hurting. And so you go into a song that kind of lets some of that hurt out,
mm-hmm.
and it heals,
Yeah.
just like it does in church. You ever hear somebody open up in church, sing to a congregation full of people? You never know what somebody out there is going through, and yet the person on stage not knowing what they're going through. You can feel it. And then they open up and belt out that song. And you watch grown people burst into tears. And kids don't understand what's going on, but the adults do. Somebody's hurting and they getting fed. And that's what happens in our show. You know, I don't ever make a set list. Hell, most of the time I don't even know what song I'm fixing to play, even when I'm starting it.
BB never had a
I
set
just
list.
start one. We figure out a lyric to go with it. Hopefully.
That reminds me of it. Just sometimes the saddest song make you the happiest. You know, sometimes you just need that. That's what that music's about. It's like you just got to have a way to. Sometimes when you can't express what is going on in your heart, that you can't even talk to nobody about it, but you can hear that song, and it expresses it for you, and somehow you're able to release that part of your spirit that needs to get out. And sometimes that's what the blues does for me.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just like it's like this thing I gotta get out.
Yeah. Yeah, like a girl. That reminds me of a girlfriend I had, but.
What was his name?
Hold up. Wait. I'm gonna answer his question. His name was Jamie. So, Jamie, hell with you. But y'all, this is really important. Thank y'all for being here. Once again, we're going to shut this talking business down, but we just want to share these things to you. I think it's important. And everybody, these people in here are trying to do their part. So please, y'all, the young folks, y'all keep doing your part. B King always is, out of all the things B King did around the world, he thought education was the most important thing in his life. That's the main thing that B always did. Well, he did another thing, but but he was serious about education. It's important to be educated because people like Mr. Cobbs and B King didn't have an opportunity to go to a university like you all. So it's really important that you know that it's about education and teaching and preaching. That's what we're doing. So we're gonna shut my talking. Do we have anybody want to ask a question other than when we gonna get the hell out of here kind of question? Anybody got a question? Yes, sir.
When I was coming into town, I went by a prison that had a big tower. It looked like a new prison.
Go ahead.
When I came into town, I went by a new, looked like a brand new prison, and it had a big water tower on it. And the water tower said, I think it said, the blues was invented here. And I got to thinking about it, and I thinking, is it just because it's a big sign, it's visible, is it helping the marketing for the community, or are they saying something else, like you didn't know about the blues till you were here? Alan Lomax made a point of going to those areas, you know, for multiple different reasons, I suppose. But I wondered if any of you guys have a comment on, is that just like local advertising to promote the economy, or is that saying you don't know the blues unless you've been here, or you will know the blues when you are here? It just kind of confused me. I wondered if anybody had a.
I didn't paint that water tower.
He's probably talking about Tutwiler up there. Yeah, but I don't know how you guys feel when, I mean, you're from Jackson, you know, I mean, from the areas, you know how it feels to grow up around it. But I know a lot of people come into Mississippi expecting some things, you know, so what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's something to be very proud of. I think there's definitely make no mistake, the blues was born here. I mean, this is, you know, obviously, Mr. Cobb, you know way more about it than I do, but you know, all bullshit aside, the blues is from here, and it's indicative of the people and the hard times that happened here way before I was here, that those songs came out and that music came out, and that sound, that is the unmistakable sound of the blues that was born right here in these fields.
I heard it said one time that the rich man writes the history and the poor man writes the song. And that's why the poor man song of Mississippi has taken over the whole world. Because everybody who's ever felt that level of poverty or ever felt that level of pain needs something to relate to. And nobody had it worse than they had it in Mississippi. And so it's natural that Mississippi would be the birthplace of the blues. And it's probably very true.
But I don't see, you know, you can paint every water tower around here. I don't think there's nothing wrong with exploiting the blues, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's something that when you come here, you should see a part of that history here. I mean, I think that's very important. It's a fantastic tool to use to draw people to my home state. I think it's something that, be proud of that. Paint every damn water tower with it.
Okay, I got a question. I know that you sing country and western, and the lyrics of country and western feeling, and the lyrics of blues and feeling. Can you give us a little bit of how your story kind of combines also with the blues story?
You want to go first? I think for me, you know, personally, and my story was the same as the blues. I mean, I grew up, my mama was raising us. You know, my daddy, he was gone. And we grew up poor, just like, you know, the blues comes from, I think that the soul and all that stuff comes from being poor and trying to figure out stuff and how you gonna get up out of here. And I think for the most part, that's what made its way into my music, is just you know, like some people you know, grow up with a football or a basketball or whatever, and that's all they have. Just like Jamie said earlier, we both had guitars. You know, that's what we had, and just didn't know. You know, that was, if it wasn't for that guitar and the love of music, I would, you know, that's how I could go make a living, and that's how all these cats. That's how, you know, that's how it worked. But I think that all the story of growing up poor is a lot of what influenced our music and what, you know, found its way into the lyrics.
There ain't a pickup truck song in the world make a man get over a broken heart. And so at some point, I'm not even a country music artist. And I've never sang a Western song in my life about anything. A lot of what I've done over the years has been blues. It just ain't been called blues. So I think part of that's just slipping one past a goalie in Nashville.
So now I know you guys, we're at the university, so I really want the kids to understand on the publishing end, because I know people kind of try to figure out, so how do I make money off this thing? You know what I mean? It's one thing to go out and perform, but you know, Mr. Cobb, I know you had a song that was performed by a lot of other people. So how did that impact you financially? And each one of you guys can just expound on that. You know, how writing a song actually impacted you financially. I know your song was done by a number of individuals, and I know we talked about how when you start receiving those checks and how big those checks were, you know, you got a check. So talk about that a little bit for me.
Well, man, you come as such a surprise, you know, because I never expected this, you know what I mean? And after all that hard work and starving and going on, and then all of a sudden the checks started to come in, I said, wait a minute, I didn't know if somebody robbed something, sent it to me and all that kind of stuff. But it's a wonderful feeling, man, to feel that, you know, you have to admit this there.
Would you have thought that Beyonce would be interested in your song?
No. I never thought nobody would be interested in it because they turned it down when I first took it to a recording studio.
Well, which is a testament. Most of the musicians out there are always looking for good lyrics. And so when I heard Beyonce doing your music, I mean, it wasn't a surprise to me. It just was a good song, you know.
Well, yes, it's just something that just happened, man. I never expected it. I was just doing something that's fast in time, and that's what it turned out to be. But I was just trying to write about my life.
Yeah.
Picking cotton and cutting, wood and just starving to death, just trying to survive.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You had a question, T.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Right.
She said, I can't sleep at night. I can't eat a bite because the man I love, he won't treat me right. How many women can't relate to that?
Right. Guys, too.
So it's a song that you write, and if you write a poem, you write a song, and then put some good music with it, and you got a hit.
I'd like to introduce this next gentleman to you all. This is an amazing man right here. I mean, you hear about Quincy Jones. You hear about a lot of people. Mr. Benjamin Wright comes out of Greenville, Mississippi here. This man has wrote and arranged orchestration for Outkast, for Miss Gladys Knight. He's done movie scores and soundtracks around the world. He comes right out of the blues world of Mississippi. He's one of the baddest cats, Earth, Wind, and Fire string arrangements. You name it, this guy here can write a string arrangement for a roach. If he saw a roach walking, he'd be like, boom, 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 bop. Ladies and gentlemen, please, this guy deserves a round of applause for his contribution to the world of music. Mr. Benjamin Wright. My brother, I love you. Lend me $2.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here, and thanks to the Honorable Alfonso here, to invite me here. In terms of the blues, nothing else needs to be said. That's it. However, I'm listening to some of the panels and the whole bit, and I just feel that something needs to be said with all of these young people here. Okay? You got two wonderful cats here, got driving the planes and whatever. And nobody is addressing the publishing. Where does the money come from? Okay? We talked about the black artists and the whole bit from way back, and everybody's covering their songs. But collectively speaking, you guys ain't got no money. Where is it? Where is it? This is what the young people need to know about. You got a lot of creative people here. They're writing songs and the whole bit. The only thing they know is get it recorded. What about the business? Who's talking about it? I'm from Greenville, Mississippi. And it took me a long time to figure out, where's the money? Been blessed beyond measure. I think I've written for every superstar artist there is. And it's still happening. I'm on the charts today. Okay? And I'm over 70 years old, so I'm no rookie out here. But in terms of the money, I can write a chart. Oh, Mr. Wright, I'll charge you 20 grand to do a string arrangement. We might do several this week. But where are the multi-millions that this work is generating? In my opinion, especially Alfonso, you're an educator, and you've been in the business a long time. You teach cats how to play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's easy. In a sense, it's easy. But where is the trail of money? All right, I'll shut up.
No, keep on, man. No, go ahead. Explain it. Explain. Don't get me going non-stop. Come on. They got quiet. They want to know. Finish the service. Come on. Don't y'all want to know where the money is? Yeah. Me too.
I want to give you just a small indication. You got two wonderful cats here who has really learned what the money was about, how to get it from the beginning, okay? I wrote a song, Quincy Jones and James Ingram sang the song called Find 100 Ways, okay? The song came out in 1981, Grammy, all of the other accolades and a whole bit. Here's a small indication. Today, my mortgage is $3,500 a month. My piece of the publishing from 1981 is still paying my mortgage today. That's just one song. One song. Just think about it. I didn't have all the publishing, just a piece. One song. So when you're writing something, the whole bit, go online. ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, whatever, and find out how to get your stuff published. I think it's been a long time since I dealt with that arm of it, but I think in terms of publishing, you need a release to establish your publishing company. You need to do that. That's the trail of the money. God bless you.
Let's give Tony Coburn a big hand. Randy Hauser, everybody. Jamie Johnson. You know, they talking about you playing some music. We might have to fix that up in a minute. But we're definitely going to be playing a lot of music tonight, Club Ebony. So before we, come on, guys, I want y'all to give them another big round of applause, everybody. More importantly, you know, everything is being filmed here. We're putting together information that can be used, you know, throughout and documenting what we're doing about this music. And more importantly, we're just always trying to remember B King. So I think that's very, very important. Yeah, come on, guys, take a seat. Yeah. So what we're going to do right now, I love you, man. I love you more. We're going to get you back on the drums, though, because we're about to do something a little bit different.
$1 I'll do it. No. You just heard what Vision say. Where's the money?
He says, where's the money? I do want, we have the next section, the next thing that we're talking about, we talk about songs and covering songs. As great as Elvis Presley was, he learned to pick the songs that he wanted to play, and they all came from somewhere else. So if you think about the industry, and Ben's talking about making money, black people weren't allowed, in 1917 when they started recording, black people weren't allowed to record. So you had bands came out of areas, let's say the original Dixieland band that was representing the music of Dixieland music out of New Orleans. Well, many people heard those recordings way before they heard real Dixieland bands. And so when they finally heard African-American musicians playing that music, they thought that it's not really, we didn't get the real deal from the recording. So then people started looking for those musicians to get them into places of entertainment. Matter of fact, you can go and look at Louis Armstrong's record. Louis Armstrong had the mafia, as it was called, behind him at some point. And they knew his music was important, but they also knew that by his music being in their clubs and their places, they were going to draw people and crowds and so forth. So the money followed. And that music has always been important that way. So there was a song called Hound Dog. Where's Ray Neal? Yeah. Ray spent, you come on up. I'm going to let you talk about this because I know a lot of things, but I know a lot of people and the music that it represents. But Ray spent a lot of time with Big Mama Thornton in his early years, and you have to tell a little bit about the Neal family, which I don't know, which number are you in the Neal family? The third. You the third one? The third.
There's 10 of us.
Yeah, so go on and tell us about your time with Big Mama Thornton and what it was like for a woman, which of course Tina's going to talk about a little bit later, but for a woman to have a song that Elvis Presley did, and of course today we call it go viral.
And I started with Big Mama in 1981. I was 21 years old, touring Canada, Toronto, Montreal, and I got a picture on my phone I keep with me all the time. And when people say, oh, you too young, you was too young to be, I pull that picture out. I don't even have hair on my face or nothing. Weigh about 130 pounds. Oh, yeah, with Big Mama Thornton. And Big Mama used to mix gin and milk to drink because the doctor told her she had ulcers and she didn't want to have surgery. And she didn't want to stop drinking. And I just couldn't, well, I'm not a drinker. Never did. Don't smoke, nothing. But I used to look at her and I say, man, she won't live long. And I think she died in 83, 84. Right after I quit the band and moved back to Baton Rouge. But that's right. Yeah, she died right after I left the band. And I couldn't believe that a surgery would have saved her life. And she just didn't want to do it. And she continued to drink and mix it. And she used to pass her milk jug around the bandstand. And everybody drank out the jug. But I turned it up like, but I wouldn't know. I don't drink. But that was something I just couldn't, at being a young man like that, I couldn't understand why she wouldn't have the surgery. And she passed away from that. From drinking but I had a lot of experience on the road. Like I say, 81, Big Mama Thornton, Muddy Waters, played with Muddy, Mr. Bobby Blue Bland for 8 years. That was my second mom there. She kept you in order, I tell you. When that bus used to get out of control, on the bus, we doing whatever we want on the bus. And the next week, Miss Bland walk out the house with her suitcase. The bus fit to get straightened out. Miss Bland ain't taking none of that. We used to get over on Bobby. He'll sit back there, he wouldn't say a word. Miss Bland get on the bus and straighten the bus out in about 30 minutes, going down the road. The whole band had changed. Remember them days? Yeah, and I mean, from there, you know, I just been blessed. Because, I mean, I played with Lil Milton, Bobby Rush, you name them, in the blues field. And my dad had 10 kids, and all 10 of us was musicians. And that's all we ever did. Like I see guys, they talk about basketball and riding bicycles. We didn't have time to do that. My dad wanted a band, and he lived to raise his band. And we played with my dad till he died. I mean, the whole band, he had one of the best bands in Baton Rouge. Harmon could tell you about that. Them old, they used to say them old Neal boys, there they come. But it was, we had a nice life in the music, and I continue to play. I probably do like BB, play till I die. Yep.
That's Ray Neal. You got to come up and put this on this microphone stand here. Can you do a E blues? Yeah, I got it. Dick, you think I don't know what I'm doing? Dick is a good friend of mine. And how you get this thing out of Jimmy, he'll tow the bottom of the thing off of there. Come on up, man. We're gonna feature DeaconBluz. This is Dr. Clark White, everybody. University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I'm retired. He retired. He said he retired, but I don't know that. He's been a professor up there at Chattanooga for years. I tell you what we do, Deke. Keep playing, baby. This is Sam Joyner. Let's give it up for Sam Joyner, everybody. Can you hear the piano out there? You got him. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a little story. I didn't intend to do this, but I'm going to tell you a story. There's a gentleman that I used to play in Indianola with when I was a little younger by the name of David Lee Durham. I was talking about David last night. But David, you know, he loved a lot of things. And Mickey, you know most of what he loved. Mickey, he don't want to talk about it. But David was on this campus, and he unfortunately that year, you know, he died. But when I was spending time with David, he would tell me stories about how it felt to pick cotton in the fields. And he said he would get a whooping. He said get a whooping. If he didn't pick 400 pounds, he said the plantation owner would whoop him, and he said his daddy would whoop him until he learned to pick that cotton to make that money. Well, David became one of the great bluesmen he got left behind. BB went on with his life and became international. David Lee stayed behind Indianola over there, but he played every Sunday at Club Ebony. And he would tell stories, but one time I asked David, I said, David, what is the blues? And David looked at me, he said, Fonzo. He said, the blues is when you work all week long, take your money, bring it home, give it to your woman, and she turn around and give it to another man. And I said, boy, that's the blues the hard way, that baby. But he used to always talk about how the sun would shine down on him in the Delta. So this is what I wrote this lyric for David. That Delta sun keeps on shining down on me. Red hot yellow Delta sun keeps on shining down on me. Lord, even in the midnight, it's 95 degrees. And David used to say it like this. He said, you know what? I found myself working all day long. The hope of promised pay. He said, boss man, I ain't got paid yet. Found myself working all day long. All day long. The hope of promised pay.
I got one.
After working down in the Delta, I just want to find me a cool, dry place. Somewhere I can hear DeaconBluz play the harmonica. Somewhere like Club Ebony, y'all.
Crack house woman. I had to leave that crack house woman alone. Y'all don't hear me, do you? Crack house woman. I had to leave that crack house woman alone. She took all my money, my good loving. I looked around and she was gone. Let me tell you about her. Can I tell you about her? Crack house woman. She used to be a cheerleader at Mississippi Valley, but she became a stewardess for Delta Airlines. Crack house woman. She used to be a stewardess for Delta Airlines, but she went to the Valley. But when she started smoking that crack cocaine, that Delta Airlines stewardess had a new way of flying. What about it, y'all? What about it? All right now. Oh, yeah. She got thrown out to rehab. They caught her with a stem. Now she back down on Auburn Avenue, working for a pimp named Sonny Jim. Crack house woman. I had to leave that crack house woman alone. I got 8 hits. She took all my money, my good loving, till a snake crawl on his knees, till money grow from trees. When a rat fly and a wino quit getting high. She took the title to my car one day I was at work, took my Corvette title and went out there on the highway and got $100 for it.
She took my Nordstrom's card. She even took my Cub Foods card. She took all my jewelry. I had $3,000 worth of jewelry. I didn't say jewelry, I said jewelry. $3,000 worth of jewelry. She took it to the pawn shop, and they gave her $50 for it. My children gave me a brand new electric toothbrush for Christmas. A Braun, you know Braun, they make some good stuff. She took the toothbrush and went over and traded for just 2 rocks of cocaine. I looked around. I looked around. I looked around. I looked around and she was gone. All right, now leave that crack alone.
Well, you just keep on having more fun, y'all. That's all about. DeaconBluz, everybody. DeaconBluz. I got to get down on. I got some important people I want to talk about, but I can't talk about everybody. Is Margaret in here somewhere? She got a team of people with her trying to help. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Clark, and I'm saying this with all my heart. Most of you know I left the state of Mississippi, but I entrusted Margaret to help us pull off the B King Symposium this year because somebody had to do the work, and it wasn't going to be me. So, Margaret, thank you so much for doing it and pulling all these people together. Yeah, please do. Yeah, give her a big. Y'all like y'all afraid to tell somebody thank you. That's the beginning of a good life when you tell somebody thank you. Can y'all do one more thing? Everybody just give her a warm round of applause. Thank you. Now, when you edit out the sad little clap and put the good one in, all right? Let's do that. Yeah, I'd like to bring to the platform, where's June? Oh, come on up, darling. Yeah, y'all come on in and enjoy life. It's a good gathering. Do you ever turn the camera around to just see the audience sometimes? You don't think about stuff like that? Or you do some of the audience? I'm just messing with you. I don't know. Since we got TC been with his comedy act. Hey, y'all, how you doing? It's good. Good to see you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, June Renwick, I got to know through a good friend of mine, Justin, who moved to the Mississippi Delta. And I thought it was very fascinating that somebody was behind the scene trying to make clothing, for a lot of the rock stars. And after listening to her story and realizing how much time she spent in London area, I guess, doing her thing. So you got her document there to read about her, but she's going to talk about some of the things that was going on during the time that the young Rolling Stones were running around when they needed a good pair of pants to put on. And she was in the background making those pants. So come on up, June. Let's give her a warm round of applause. Today, they always talk about it, but I think the clothing industry, they mark up clothes, nearly 500%. So when you get them on sale, that's about all they cost anyway. I go to Goodwill and the thrift show shops. You ready, baby? Is that good enough?
Thank you. No, thank you for doing it. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. And do you know yesterday? Sorry.
Is that good?
Yesterday? Yeah?
Can everybody hear me?
Okay. Yesterday, I happened to be at a talk that Dr. Benjamin Wright gave to the students, some of the music students here. And what he had to say to y'all is just amazing, and I hope some of you are really listening up. These these musicians here are iconic. This is your opportunity to really listen deeply to this. You may never get another chance again. So I've got to say that the blues were the most influential music of the 20th century. And that, as you've heard, that has infiltrated everything. And my part was fashion, but art, theater, of course, music. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the clubs in London at the time. I was living there. Rose, who's going to talk to you later, was also living in London at the time. So there was a couple of clubs we all used to frequent. One was called the Flamingo All-Nighter, and that's because they were open all night. And I think, you know, I've never really studied the blues, but I sure heard a lot of it. And I think, I don't know where it actually started in England, but the English are mad for the blues and R&B. And at the Flamingo All-Nighter, there was an American Air Force base out in the east of England, and a lot of those African-American chaps, the flyers, would come into London on Saturday nights, and they'd bring their records with them. And they'd sell the records at the club, and we were all there.
You might have to hold it up to your mouth closer.
Sorry.
Can you hold it?
Sure.
And just talk right in it, because they can't hear back there.
Okay.
But you have to point this at your mouth.
Thank you. The chaps hanging out at the Flamingo All-Nighter and a few other clubs like that were, before they even made their name, it was the Stones, it was Led Zeppelin, it was the Pink Floyds, you know, on and on. You can just go down the list, you can Google all this. I never did because I lived it, but I started looking into it, and I can't believe the wealth of information out there. So you all can read that, but you have no idea what the feeling was like at the time. And that's what I try to impart to you today. And some of your speakers here, if you were listening up to them, these musicians would walk in a room, they'd feel the room. In London at the time, you'd walk out your door and you could feel what was going on in the roads in London. And that was really primarily due to music. And a lot of... So what I'd like to say is how all of this dovetailed into being what our lifestyle was in England at the time. And actually, we were all young like y'all, and we just had everything ahead of us. We were positive. We thought we were going to change the world. Kind of musically, it did. And you're still listening to that music 50 years later, for goodness sakes. That's pretty amazing, right? So the clothes. Everybody would walk up and down King's Road, Carnaby Street, shopping on Saturday so they could go out to the clubs on Saturday night and look super fly. I was going around, as many of my friends were who were seamstresses. We'd go to all the, oh gosh, I don't know, kind of jumble sales, the markets, pull out silk kimonos, all kinds of old bits and pieces, and go home and run up clothes and go out to the shops and sell them. We were just working at sewing machines all the time. A lot of the bands were coming out of art college. Oh my gosh, you know, I don't want to drop a lot of names, but for example, Pete Townsend just came out of art college with his wife-to-be, Karen. She was sewing clothes on her kitchen table. Everybody was coming around to the kitchen to be fitted for their gig that night. I mean, it was just, anybody could do anything. London was cheap to live in. Food was cheap. My rent was like £3 a week. That's $10. So, you know, we were all just winging it and having a blast doing it. I thought I'd be talking to Rose right now because she has some great stories. Where are you? Anyway, she was telling me, I've known Rose for 5 minutes. We had a great laugh. Rose was telling me about meeting Bob Marley. And I guess she and I both together, I mean, we were at every first gig of every single band you can think of that started in London. I don't know what else to say except, gosh, I'll never sew again. I know that. But yeah, we were sewing up. You know, first the denim thing came in. We were sewing up. Actually, to be honest, they would ship us over denim by the ton from prisons in America, probably prisons in the South, and we'd cut it all up, make patchwork clothes. It was sold all over Europe. Then the leather thing. We used to go down to Leather Market in South London and buy leather scraps. They were super cheap. We'd buy them by the ton. Come home and make jackets, trousers, long coats, you name it. I made my daughter a little leather jacket when she was 1 year old. So, you know, the fashion was amazing. And when I look around here right now, I can see remnants of that fashion right here. There's girls sitting right here with a fringed vest. I mean, there's a lot that's changed, but all of that stuff is just carrying on. So as students, Dr. Benjamin Wright was really trying to give you a clue in. You are the future. You're going to carry this on after we're all gone. So pay attention. I got to say that a lot of people in the 60s weren't really paying attention. We were just having a good time living the life. Now you've got the opportunity to pay attention here and really carry this torch on, and I hope you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, June, for coming all the way from, I want to go back to San Diego, I know that. Yeah. I want to take a few minutes to say, if you have not filled out a survey, please do so. It helps us. The ways we get monies to help bring some of the people in and fly them and to transport and, you know, do honoraries and so forth, we do it through grant monies, and sometimes with the grants we have to have evidence that people attended these programs. So if you will, be so kind to fill out the surveys. It helps us too to understand, you know, some of the things that we need to do to make things better. So please take the time to do it, and it helps us out a lot. Also at this point, I want to bring to the microphone one of Valley's professors, one of my dear friends, Mr. Spence Townsend. And Spencer's going to come up and talk about, we have high school, middle school students who presented art, which was judged, and those students are winning in excess of, what is $10,000? He said $10,000. So next time, put you some art in the thing so you can get some money. We're going to talk about the winners.
Hey, everybody. My name's Spence Townsend. I'm an assistant professor of art here at Valley, and I'm happy to be here. And if you haven't already had a chance to come up and look at the artwork here, I'd really encourage you, maybe during the lunch break, to come check it out. We've got some beautiful work for you to look at. So first, I'd like to just recognize all of our participants today, and all of our participants are going to receive a certificate of participation. And after I announce everyone, I'd like for you to come up and receive your certificate. So we have some participants, some art students from Valley State. I'd like to announce them first. We have work by Stephanie Davis, Jamarcus McCall. I think Jamarcus is over here. Michelle Hart. Stephanie Davis. Oh, I already said, Torrance Davis. I think Torrance just left. Okay. And Jalen Walker. Okay. We have some artwork from Gentry High School in Indianola. All right. Armani Bell. All right. Armani Bell. Tori Davenport. Dantes Burton. Jakayla Griffin. Ashton Stevens. Rhinakiran Brandon. Did I say it right? Okay. Dontarius Roscoe. Okay. And then from Wooddale High School in Memphis, we have an entry from Tamiracle Carruthers. Really beautiful collage back here. And then we have a mystery piece that just kind of appeared over here today, this Robert Johnson painting by Marshawn Street. Anybody know who is that? Are you here? Good work. Cool. I love it. Okay. So now for the winners. Okay. Third place for his piece entitled B King is Ryan Akiran Brandon. Congratulations. From Gentry High School. Great work. In second place, Mississippi Valley State student Jalen Walker for her piece, The Thrill Is Gone. Is she here? Okay. And first place for his piece, Blues Boy Duo, is Tamiracle Carruthers. Great work. So the work was juried by Cheryl Thornhill, the executive director of the Museum of the Mississippi Delta, and she really took her time and picked out her favorite entries. So now I'd just like to welcome the participants to come up to the stage and get your certificate. And thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. What happened to my band? Yeah, I need to get a band back on the stage. So, yeah, I need the musicians back. Yeah, well, come on up. You come on and play too. Anybody. Get somebody on the drums. Somebody on. We're gonna do a little tribute here in a minute to B King and Lucille. Ms. Whitfield, thank you for bringing those high school students. Yeah, can we get the students up to do a photo shoot right quick? You need to call the art students back up. Yeah, all the people who presented art, if you come on up. That's good. Hey, what's happening? Ernie, how you doing, man? You made it out. All right, if I can get the musicians back up on the stage, we're gonna do a little music here for everybody. Where did everybody's trying to get out to lunch. We're gonna eat lunch anyway, so y'all hold on. I don't think so. No, I don't think we have a bass player. Hey guys, cut it. Yeah, I still need, who do we need? We still have a bass player. We need a, where did Robert Sherrill go? He's already gone back over. Oh, Ray, I want you to take who's got the Lucille? Oh yeah, we got a bass player in the house. Once again, I want to thank you guys for coming out. We're going to get ready to take a little lunch break, but before we do, we're going to introduce Lucille, the guitar. Ray, put it back. Yeah, this guitar right here with BB's signature on it. BB signed this one. It's called Number One. Well, BB had a lot of guitars that were offered to him by the Gibson Company. Some were made for specific purposes. And the museum titled this one Number One. And it was given to the museum in 2008. And there are only a few select people that ever got a chance to play this guitar and even touch the guitar. So I'm very fortunate to have it in my hands. And as you've seen, Ray Neal has been one of the people in BB's life that BB entrusted his guitars to. So he's been very fortunate to do it. We got a mixture of guys on the bandstand. Y'all got it together? Oh, well, wait a minute now. I got to unwind it here. Can you see it? That's good. Don't forget me now when I need to take a picture here. Can everybody see the little short man on the stage right there with the hat on? DK, we giving a young guy a run at the guitar this year, y'all. DK, yeah, you can say something to him in a minute. But before I get DK on it, just hold on to that. Now, don't touch it. I want to know if everybody can see the little short man up here with the hat on. Mr. Mickey Rogers, everybody. Mickey. Hey, Ray. You blocking Mick. We already can't see him. Yeah. If you want to do yourself a favor, I don't know who said that in a music line. If you want to do yourself a favor. But anyway, Mickey Rogers, you should look that name up. One of the great musicians that came out of Mississippi. What happened to, is Cheryl, you left your horn? You fired, man. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Cheryl Holly. Yeah, he's with the Dorothy Moore's band. Yeah, been playing sax around the world with Dorothy Moore for years. Are y'all ready? Hey, y'all ready? You ready, house dog? Yes, sir. All right, let's see what you got then. You ready? Y'all got a song? All right, let's do it. Knock it out.
See my milk cow, babe. Mama sent her home. Ever see my milk cow, babe? Mama sent her home. Well, I ain't had no milk and butter, mama, and my milk cow been gone. I woke up this morning, I looked out my back door. Could tell my milk cow, tell by the way that she lows. If you see it, baby, my mama turned that on. I ain't had no milk and butter, mama, since my milk cow been gone. Come on, Mickey Rogers. your crying, baby, you gotta leave me alone. Don't believe I'm leaving, mama, count the days. I'm gone, you're gonna need it, mama. You're gonna need my love some. Well, and you're gonna be sorry, baby. Lord, Lord, you treated little John this way. Well, good evening. Don't that sun look good going down? Well, good evening, baby. Don't that sun look good going down? Well, don't that army cop look lonesome when your lover can't be found? Sail on, sail on. You got to sail on, baby, sail on. Sail on. Lord, Lord, you got to sail on. Ooh, Lord, you got to sail on, sweet mama, God, I'm gonna lose my happy home. Well, good evening. Don't that sun look good going down? Well, good evening, baby. Don't that sun look good going down? Well, don't that homie cot look lonesome? Hey, when your lover can't be found, Lord have mercy now. Sail on. Sail on, baby. Ooh, sail on, baby. Lord, you gotta sail on. You gotta sail on, sweet mama, now. You gotta lose your happy home.
Yeah, let's give it up. I got Jimmy. I got echo and we got effects on it. Yeah, we about to take a lunch break, everybody. we got my audience leaving, so I was going to try to introduce y'all to somebody who was going to say a little something to everybody. But we'll still have it on video, on film. And maybe because we are ahead, what happened to DK? Oh, you right behind me. Come on up, DK. We got a young brother here known as DK. He's been helping us along the way today. But I want to make sure that everybody recognizes that B King intended for his guitar to still be pronounced by young people, whether it's that guitar or any guitar. It's passing the legacy of his sound down, as we call it. Mr. King, Mr. Walter King, you be so kind to come to the stage. We're gonna. What happened to my band? Everybody left it. Oh, they're trying to do. Hey guys, we're gonna still need a bass player. What happened to we need a bass player and a drummer. Yeah, we need a bass player and a. Since we getting this on film, we need DK to do this guitar thing. I got a special friend here that helped us get a bus load of these students down there, Mr. Malcolm Shepard. Yeah, he's been so kind to share his pocketbook with us to help get these students into the building. And thank you, Malcolm, for your kindness. Also, y'all all right up there? Yeah, let's do this thing. Don't worry about the students. When their stomachs say go eat, they just leave. I don't know what happened. Oh, you say you understand. But we're gonna close out before the lunch break with DK doing a feature thing on Lucille. You ready, DK?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. DK on Lucille, everybody.
When I first met you, baby, you was just sweet 16. When I first met you, baby, you was just sweet 16. You just left your home now, baby. Oh, the sweetest thing I ever seen. But you wouldn't do nothing for me, baby. You wouldn't do anything I asked you to. Yes, you wouldn't do nothing for me, baby. Oh, you wouldn't do anything I asked you to. But there's nothing in this world, woman. Baby, ain't nothing I wouldn't do for you. So this is what I tell her. I told her this. You can treat me mean, baby, but I keep on loving you just the same. Yes, you can treat me mean, baby. Oh, I keep loving you, keep on loving you just the same. I can't wait to tell my exes this. But one of these days, baby, you're gonna give a lot of money to hear someone call my name. Oh, sweet 16, baby. Sweet 16. Woo. The sweetest thing I ever seen. Well, you know I'm having so much trouble, baby. Baby, I wonder. Yes, I wonder. Ooh. Baby, I wonder what in the world's gonna happen to me.
Let's give it up for DK, everybody. Do we have any instructions about lunch? They're gonna follow this beautiful young lady right here, Dr. Kathy Golden. We got lunch prepared for everybody down the hallway here. So, see if they would have been so fast, we might have fed them too. So y'all, please be my guests. We're gonna go down and grab a little lunch together. We'll be back and do the second half of this thing.